Okay, so good morning, everybody. I made a couple of little clear blue plastic body panels. I'll use those as templates for the finals. I have not taken my electronics back out and rearranged them or shortened any wires. I did swap out my shocks for the aluminum ones for a short time. There is no difference in performance or handling or anything. I tested the Flint lighter striker springs, these, in one set of them. And if you're building a die cast with these shocks, if you want internal spring shocks, these are extremely soft springs that come in them. So I'm gonna go out there on a limb and say, if you want to build a die cast or a heavy brass chassis or something of the like, using these springs cut down to the size you need will give you a very stiff spring. With this light chassis, there was no articulation at all with those heavy springs, strong springs. So as far as belly dragger, low CG, that's where I'm at with this. I've tried to get more lift by stretching the springs inside the tubes. That didn't really work. So I'm out of options as far as springs for these shocks, and I'm either missing or lost one of the shafts for the external spring shocks, the tall ones. So what I'm doing now is just running it around, making some body panels here and there. I've got plenty more of this blue clear plastic, which was actually packaging off of something. So you can use whatever. I've got clear, I've got blue, I've got another, I think a pink one somewhere that I found. Just, fine packaging with nice flat sheet, and use what you need of it to make your panels or your templates. And these look like good panels, and that clear blue kind of looks good, but I don't want this to be blue. I'm just going to use these as templates. The side panels, I'll have to take the cage apart to make one template and then use that template for both sides. All in all, this thing's awesome. If this is your first Tiny4x4 or Orlandoo kit, it's phenomenal as far as crawlability. The only thing it's been stuck on really was a Dremel bit, and because everybody knows I'm just running it around here on my messy tool pile. And I did drive it. I put that on my desk and drove it up and down on the lower part of it, which has got some pretty extreme angles and curves, and it did great. It flipped over a couple of times in some awkward positions, but that's not a complete thing. Mountain course or rock crawler course, whatever you want to call it. So right now it's just bare foam, and it's bare or cut. So all in all, the Tiny4x4, designed by Dominic Widmer, this thing's awesome. This thing is awesome. I would like to get a little lift out of it. I had told Don I'd like to go midway, about right there. So there's all the way up, there's all the way down. I'd like it to be about right here, just a midway point. And I'd like it to ride at midway point and still have plenty of articulation for all the crawling and stuff, and not get hung up. Like I said, the only place that it's been hung was on the skid and the link, the front link right here, other than the front center axle chunk, which I can resolve that with a skid plate later on, a front skid. Stock form, can't say good enough. I mean, it goes together really easy. Actually, I think this went together easier than the Durock. I'm 50-50 on that. The ball screws on the Durock, if you don't know what you're doing, it's kind of the same on this. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to have an issue. But putting the ball screws in the chassis way up in there took me a minute to figure it out, because they go in at an angle. They're not straight, and they're kind of tucked up in there, and you have to go. It's kind of, I'll just say awkward, different. So everything on this went together great. The ball studs, ball screws out in the open, really easy to get to. These were not that difficult once I figured it out. I did that on camera so everybody knows. Axle width, wheel spacing, back spacing, it's all great. Gives it a decent stance and track width. Comparable to the Durock. That's with XO1 axles on both, and the Durock has XO1 wheels with 33mm GK24 tires. So you see the difference here. The bigger tires and the back spacing of the wheels make it quite a bit wider, and definitely helps in certain crawling situations, and I'm sure it can hinder in others. Not going to say anything bad about the Durock either. So that's the Gammy, the Durock. They're both a blast. I never did drive the XO1 yet. I will finish mine and drive it eventually. I have so many other chassis that I'm building, custom ones. When I first built my green Jeep and used the GK24 tires with the WL Toys aluminum wheels and had it stretched and lifted, I used a really fast motor in it, really fast. A lot of torque, a lot of speed. And it would break drive shafts, the pins in the drive shafts. It would flip over on rocks because the high speed and torque at the same time. It's kind of uncontrollable. It was fun. And this new build that I did with it, it's extremely fast compared. And yeah, I mean, I burned out the servo doing donuts. So the N30 motor is quite a ticket. Articulation wise, this out articulates pretty much everything I have. I think that I've driven. My little blue Jeep, it never did have crazy articulation. My tow truck, kinda. It's got some pretty good articulation with lighter springs, especially. But that's a whole different character. So the Gammy, the only way it ever was, I'm talking about Gammy RC back here, when I had that stretched beyond, I don't even remember, it was like 150 millimeters long. It was insane. I don't remember exact, might have been more than that. I had it on Losi Trail Trekker axles with the giant Mudslinger tires, RC four-wheel drive. It looked absolutely insane, and the articulation was, yeah, it would completely sidewall a tire, like back one's flat and this would be like up here. So, but that was not Orlandoo axles. Those were Losi Trail Trekker 124 scale axles on that little micro chassis. So different. I had to make custom links that were really long. I still have them somewhere. I keep thinking about rebuilding that just because of stupidity. It's fun. I think the longer the links are on this, the more articulation we would get. But if you go too long on it, it's already quite long, so if you go too long on it, you're going to lose steering. It's going to have a longer steering radius. I've never done a four-wheel steer, never completed one. So as far as putting a four-wheel steer on it, don't ask me. I don't really know. I'm seeing that I do have space inside this chassis to rearrange my electronics and tuck my wires back in there better. I have quite a bit of wasted space on this side and in the front. Once I got that ESC and servo, or ESC and receiver all wired together and everything, I just went to I got it in there as best as I could because I wanted to run it. And I mean, if you paid attention to any of my videos on this was less than, I didn't work on it the entire time. I looked at it quite a bit, but I didn't work on it the entire time. If I had an instruction sheet and time devoted, probably 3 to 4 hours, I could have had this built. If the electronics were pre-wired. If I was in a rush and the electronics were not pre-wired and I knew what I was doing with instruction sheet and everything, and it was just go at it, then yeah, not even a half-day build for a person that knows the Orlandoos and the axle setups and everything. And yeah, it's a easy assembly. So to the guys that have built a lot of the Orlandoo kits, this will be no problem whatsoever, and a lot of fun if you enjoy crawlers. So, and to anybody that's got the big version of it, I'm not gonna get into name calling, everybody knows what it is. Be a good little baby crawler next to it. So I know I've seen a lot of videos where people do that. They'll buy the big one and the small one and put them side by side. So kind of cool. I don't know what else I could say. I still haven't killed the first battery. I know I said I was going to charge it, but I didn't. And I can plug it in right now and still drive it around, no problems. I'm not sure how long the 120 lasts. I drive it 3 to 4 minutes at a time and then kind of inspect everything. Nothing's come loose, nothing's breaking. My front drive shaft, I need to pull you can see the angle there. I need to pull my links in just a little. Actually, the back one too. I need to shorten the wheelbase just a little because I think I've got them out just a little too far. It's gonna get in a bind and pop a drive shaft loose. So final version will be a little shorter in wheelbase. That might actually help it set up a little bit. I don't know. The weight alone I think the weight is based on the motor and the battery more than anything else. I took the foams out. It gets a lot better traction. With the foams, it does okay. But if you want better side hilling, side walling, or whatever you want to call it, those foams, yeah, not really crawler stuff. These tires are plenty firm enough and plenty squishy enough for no foams and being able to crawl. Holds up the weight. You can see it. They don't squish by just the weight of the vehicle. What else? It could use some weight in the front for inclines. So wheel weights in the future. I have some copper tubing, copper pipe that I'll cut and make some for myself when Don releases me to do whatever to it. Right now I'm just kind of keeping it in stock form, no customizations, no modifications, no upgrade parts. It's all stock Orlandoo electronics other than I said electronics, all stock Orlandoo parts other than the electronics. The servo is an Orlandoo, but the rest is, well, the servo and the battery and the motor. The ESC and receiver are different. So it's my first ever kind of a review, so to speak. And I can't find anything that I can complain about, really. There's no bitching coming from me about this. If I was going to add anything to the kit, if I was in Don's position and going to add anything to the kit, it would be a set of stronger springs for the internal spring shocks. That would be it. I'd leave it at that. Body panels, they're simple to make yourself, but Don's gonna potentially make some body panels to sell also. Some decals on the body panels, which, I mean, we get the decal sheet And there are some smaller ones in here, I think, or they're bigger back here, I think. Let me move this. Oh, there's white ones here and red ones on the other end. So, I think black ones are in the middle. I haven't opened it. Yeah. Color choices, I mean, whatever. It's everybody's personal taste. The light on my ESC is, or on my receiver, is blue. So, kind of lights up the blue panels in the dark. I goofed around with it a little last night and checked that out, and it's kind of cool. I'm not going to go with blue panels, though. I don't know what color I'll paint it. All in all, it's a good kit. And yeah, we'll see. Anyway, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.